In Project 2013, the calendar shows the various hours in a workday, the days in a work week, holidays, and non-working days on which a project schedule is based. Project allows you to set base, project, task, and resource calendars. A resource is anything you use to accomplish a task or to advance and complete the project. Resources can be employees, equipment, and other things. It helps if you know the function of each calendar before you begin to use any of them. Part of successful project management is efficiency, so it is important to take the time to learn exactly what every aspect of this software offers you. The 4 calendars project gives you help you schedule and organize different aspects of the project. Also, the 4 calendars interact with each other to help you manage even the smallest aspect of the project. A base calendar is the template calendar that all other project calendars are built from. There are 3 base calendars: Standard, 24 hours, and Night Shift. Standard reflects a default working day as 8 to 5 with an hour built in for lunch. This is Monday through Friday. 24 hours allows work to go on around the clock every day of the week. The Night Shift template sets the working times as 11 PM to 8 AM with an hour for dinner and a Monday through Saturday work week. The project calendar is the default calendar used for scheduling. It is also where you choose the base calendar template that you'll use for this project. The resource calendar combines the base calendar with any exceptions that you set for a resource. An example of an exception can be non-working times. The task calendar is where you can set exceptions for a certain task. Whenever you create tasks and assign resources to them, as we'll learn later in this course, project must base that work on a timing standard. For example, a workday, a night shift, or a week. An example is this. If you tell project that a task will be completed in 1 workday, project knows that a workday typically means 8 hours. It can also be a 12-hour day, or however many number of hours that you set up in your calendar. By the same token, if you set up a resource that will be used for 2 weeks of work, measuring weeks by 5-day work week, it will show a timing of 10 work days, not just the standard 14-day period that typically comprises a 2-week period. Just be careful. If you schedule a 2-week task, but the resource needed to accomplish the task is set for 3 weeks, the task will not show as completed after 2 weeks. It will be 3 weeks instead. This will all make more sense as we move forward and learn more about the program. To start with, let's open the project calendar. Remember, this is where we choose the base calendar that we use for a project. To access the project calendar, go to the Project tab and click on Project Information. You'll see this dialog box appear. This should look familiar from earlier in the course. In the dialog box here, you can choose the base calendar that you want to use in the calendar field. You can also establish start and end dates for the project. Don't worry about anything else at this time. We'll discuss advanced options later, but for now you can set your calendar if you didn't do it when you enter the project information. Click the OK button. This is the calendar that will be now used for your project. Next, let's learn how to set options and make adjustments to task and resource calendars. To do this, go to the File tab and click on Options. Click on Schedule on the left-hand side. To change the day that the week starts on, go to the Week Starts On drop-down list and choose a day. If you want to change the start of the fiscal year, go to the Fiscal Year Starts On and select a month from the drop-down menu. You can change the work hours for a day by changing the default start and default end times. You can also change the hours per day, hours per week, and days per month. Click OK when you're finished. If you want, you can make it so the task calendar uses a different base calendar than the one you choose for your project. When you do this, the task calendar that you use will overrule the base calendar for that particular task. For example, if you choose the standard calendar for your project, but a 24-hour task calendar, a task duration of 1 day would be 24 hours instead of 1 day. To change the calendar you use for a task, double-click on the task name. You'll then see the Task Information dialog box. Click on the Advanced tab, then choose a new calendar from the Calendar drop-down list. Click OK when you're finished. You can see the duration might have been updated. Note that if you have a resource assigned to a task that has a modified calendar, the resource will only work during the hours the 2 calendars, the resource and the task calendar, have in common. To change it back, double-click on the task, go to the Advanced tab, and change the calendar back to the value of none, and then click OK. You can only have a calendar for work resources. Material resources are charged by units used. To modify a calendar for work resources, display a view that shows the resource column, then double-click a resource name. For this, we need to type in a resource name into one of our tasks. For this one, we'll type in MS Word. Now go to the View tab and click on the Resource Sheet view. Now double-click on the resource name. You'll then see the Resource Information dialog box. Make the changes that you need to make in the Resource Availability section, and then click OK. We'll work with resources later in this course. Let's say that on President's Day, you and your employees will only be working half a day. You can create an exception to the normal working time to reflect this. To do this, go to the Project tab and click on Change Working Time. This dialog box will appear. Locate the day on the calendar for which you want to create an exception. Enter a name for the example in the name field. Ours will be President's Day. Now enter in start and finish work times for the day. And then click OK. In Project 2013, calendars will determine the working hours that tasks and resources run. They are highly necessary to successful project management because they keep you organised and on task on time. It is important that you take the time to set your calendars at the beginning of each project. What's more, it's also important that you become familiar with everything we've learnt related to calendars in this lesson. As we progress further into the course, we will be using these calendars to schedule tasks and resources.